gonna blow the lid on this right now. It is all, A-L-L, it is all an evil, occult, Illuminati conspiracy to control your mind. Every single package that you see at the supermarket, every single logo on that package, it is an evil, occult, Illuminati symbol designed to brainwash you into buying products that will kill you or turn you into a mindless drone, better able for the Illuminati to control. Every single fast food chain, the logos, those golden arches, you think that's a big M? You think that's a big M that is standing for McDonald's? No, the golden arches, 2 golden arches. This is an ancient, occult, Illuminati symbol, an evil occult symbol designed to brainwash you into doing the Illuminati's dirty work. Don't be fooled. Every commercial you see on TV, every single billboard that you see. I cannot do this with a straight face. Damn it!
Hi, welcome to Kick-Ass Switch, putting the K in MAGiCK. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you are watching a video about evil, occult, Illuminati symbols. Be afraid. Be very afraid. I've watched my share of those videos in my time, for sure. Symbols are everywhere, and major corporations use symbols because they are powerful, as all witches know. As most, let me not be too broad, most witches work with symbols. I would argue that symbolism, symbolic gesture, symbolic ritual, sigils, little signs and symbols that we draw all over our stuff, that is a cornerstone, if not, it's not the cornerstone, because you could argue magic, you could argue nature are cornerstones of being a witch, but symbolism is too. Symbolism is very important. I have said this so many times, I sound like a broken record. This encompasses everything from ritual work to creating your own sigil, just to drawing a little star on, into your notebook or journal, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. This is a way of accessing the subconscious mind. The parts of your mind, the parts of your psyche that your linear, everyday, get it done, logical mind cannot touch. So we use symbolism to access. We use metaphor, we use archetypes, we use symbols of all kinds to access that level of our psyche so that we can create change in conformity with our will, which is the definition of MAGiCK, creating change in consciousness in conformity with your will. If you prefer that definition, I happen to think they are the same thing. But something, this is the book we are working with in June. It inspired June's theme of signs, symbols, and synchronicities, so I'm just gonna bust it out again. Sidewalk Oracles by Robert Moss. He recommends keeping a journal to track all of the synchronicities that happen in your life, the symbols that show up in your dreams, the symbols, signs, and synchronicities that pop up in your life. You keep a dedicated journal just for that. And he actually says it takes about 5 years, by his estimation, of keeping a journal like this to really start to see, like, whoa, how these symbols and signs will come to us in dreams and little synchronicities in our life. And they are foretelling something that later we can look back in retrospect and be like, oh my gosh, that journal entry that I wrote 3 years ago. I love when astrologers, they'll be talking about, and I do believe that astrology is symbolic. It is symbolic of what is happening here. As above, so below, as within, so without. So it's kind of like a mirror reflection. It's a symbol. And the planets we talk about, the aspects, the transits, the retrogrades, all those things are symbolic. It's a symbolic language for what's talking about, what we're talking about here and what's going on down here on planet Earth. But I love when astrologers say look back to May blah 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 2008. Look back to this day and see if there's not some resonance in what's happening in your life today back to what you were experiencing back then. I have been a journaler almost my entire life. I journaled when I was a kid, I journaled when I was a teenager, and I haven't stopped. So when I really got into astrology, I loved, especially I use my date book as a journal now. I've kind of incorporated the two. I do keep other kinds of journals, but I do like basic, I write down kind of like the cliff notes of my dreams there, what tarot card I was working with that day, and major just insights that I might have. If it's a long dream or if it's a major insight that I really want to dig into or some shadow work, I will turn to my journal. But in my date book, I just keep notes, kind of, hit the highlights of the day. And it's really fun when astrologers say that, because I can go running back to my book and be like, oh my God, there is a resonance. So I love that kind of symbolism. And I'm just going to kind of riff on symbolism today, but I wanted to recommend that you start a journal tracking the signs, symbols, and synchronicities of your life for the very purpose that I just said. And I'm going to read a little bit what Robert Moss has to say about it, because he's awesome and he can say it better than I can. Keep your secret book. I love the idea of calling it, we often keep a book of shadows or a book of mirrors. I like calling it a book of signs. And let me show you mine. My mom bought this for me. It's very witchy. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm sure you've seen these. I love that it has this like little lock thing on it. It just looks old and cool. You can buy these anywhere. They're not hard to find, but little did she know that her evil, occult, Illuminati daughter would be recording signs, symbols, and synchronicities in it. I actually had this for a while before I figured out what I was going to do with it, and I decided to keep a book of signs, and it tracks the synchronicities of my life. It's not all symbols and signs, but these are the major symbols that I've been working with for years. About every couple of years, I guess, a new symbol comes along, and I work with them forever. Like once a symbol really strikes me, this is really funny here. Whoop. This was my first like witchy symbol. I know my symbols are very girly and childlike, but so am I. Yours might look far more evil and occult and Illuminati than mine. Mine look like this. But this one I just love, because when I first started working with the idea of being a witch, back when I called myself a white witch, way before I was making YouTube videos, I would use this. And it's interesting because there's like kind of a cone of power involved, and hearts and stars are kind of all over everything for me. But this is the classic witch's star, witch's pyramid, pentacle, pentagram, right there. This is for really the goddess, the dove of hope, the dove of peace, the Holy Ghost. This I did a blog post on last year, so that's the newest. And then this is Pisces, and he's got an evil pentacle eye, an evil occult symbol in his eye. Talking in circles, let's get back to this. But I just wanted to show you, I've been keeping what I call my book of signs, and I recommend you do that too for, the reasons I just stated. But he says your personal journal, your secret book as he calls it, is the most important book you will ever read about synchronicity, as well as the most important book you will ever read on dreams. This is a nice long chunk of highlighted paragraph there, so I'm going to skip all the way to the bottom. And he says, your journal will become the best encyclopedia of symbols you will ever find. It will also become your very best book oracle, because in Sidewalk Oracles, he loves bibliomancy and just pulling open a book to like any page and seeing what he says. So if you've been journaling for a long time, your journal, even if you haven't started your book of signs or your book of secrets or whatever you want to call it, is a great way to do that, just to flip open, because it's personal to you. These are symbols, signs, and synchronicities that have come through you, your own life, the dreams that you've had, or even just the mundane experiences that you've had, because we revisit life experiences again and again and again, hopefully in a spiral. So every time a lesson comes back around, you learn it on a deeper level and you kind of evolve. So the next time it comes around, you evolve again. I think this is just my opinion. I have no facts to back this up, but in my experience on the planet, paying attention to my own life and the lives around me, is we each seem to have like our pet issues or our pet lessons that we're here to learn. And so we tend to have, half a dozen issues, the same issues that kind of follow us around, through life. And I think that has to do with our purpose and what we're here to do, how we're here to serve. These lessons are preparing us for that, regardless of what field you get into. I think your purpose could be being a parent, for example. So your day job might be being a mechanic, but your soul's purpose is really to raise these amazing people. So those lessons can, go around like that. And my point in talking about signs in the beginning is the signs, and showing you the signs in my book, they're personal. I think a lot of witches would look at those symbols and laugh and be like, that's not witchy. What? I mean, you're so fluffy. If you get to know me better, you'll know that's not true. But on the surface I am, and the art that I love is very lowbrow, and the symbols I like to work with are very girly. The power tool that I creating thought forms that spring to life, it looks very cute. But it's actually a really powerful ancient practice of creating thought forms. That's just how I roll. And that's my point, is that symbols are very personal. I explained recently that I can wear this around my family because they have no idea what it is. They just think, oh, it's like that, kind of like a hippie thing. It's a evil eye. It is, I believe, Italian, and it's a symbol for deflecting the hairy eyeball when someone's trying to curse you or give you the evil eye. This is supposed to protect you. Do I think this charm protects me from the evil eye? Only if I believe that it does. If I put this on and I feel a layer of protection because this symbol speaks to me, yes, I do think so. If somebody just gives this to you and you know nothing about it and you just think it's a cool turquoise necklace, eyeball thingy, kind of, but this bohemian thing that you've seen in the magazines, you'll just put it on and it's just another necklace. Christians will see the sign of the cross and feel humbled by it or inspired by it. They see it as a sign of salvation, freedom from sin, the promise of, I just looked at the button down below here and was like, I'm not recording this. No, I can't say this all over again. They see it as a positive symbol. Other people, maybe former Christians, will see it as a sign of oppression. In either case, most people probably see it as a sign of sacrifice, and you can see that as a good thing or a bad thing. I've always thought it was odd that a religion is based on so much death and sacrifice, and then you get into witchcraft and you're like, wow, death is really represented there too. So death is just a normal part of the life-death life cycle, but the way Christianity leverages death is often, not always, it really depends on the Christian, it's a fear-based thing and a control-based thing. And then these are the people that are looking at the pentacle and saying that's an evil, occult, Illuminati sign. So it's really a matter of perspective. The swastika I've mentioned before Hitler got his greedy little hands on it, it was actually a beautiful symbol about nature and the cycles of life. And if you just look at a swastika, if you are able to look at it without getting sick or pissed off, which I know is not possible for a lot of people, but you will see it's like, oh, that is such a natural symbol. Of course that's all over ancient ruins, all over the planet, because it's just so natural. It's just like the seasons, the cycles of life, the cycles of growth and life, death, life, death. And but now we see that symbol, and it's extremely charged for us. Where I live, there is a giant hill that kind of overlooks my town, I can see it from my front yard. My son and I walk by it all the time, and there's a church on the top with a cross, and the cross is lit up at night. And one night we were, I can't remember if we were driving or walking, but I remember what he said. Because I asked him, I was like, oh, do you know what that is? And his grandparents are always busy trying to teach him about Jesus and whatnot. So I figured he probably had some idea, and he goes, it's a T for Tanner. He was so happy and proud of himself. His name is Tanner, if you don't know. And then he proceeded to list all his favorite golf balls that start with the letter T, all his favorite golf ball brands, and talk about someone that's into logos. He's got a jillion golf balls, and they all have different logos on them, and he's like way into it. But anyway, my point is, he sees a cross. Some people might see it and be angry because they're former Christians or they feel oppressed by Christians. Some people might see it and feel inspired and uplifted and protected because they're Christians. And then someone might see it and see a big T. This is really reminding me of the video that I did on correspondences, actually. It's all personal. And I love that about being a witch. I love that about being a New Age practitioner, is we get to craft our own practice. We get to craft our own spirituality and explore our own lives in a really interesting way, which is again why I'm recommending starting a book of signs. So that, you know, what I did on the cover page of mine was just write some of the symbols that I've been working with for years, because I like looking at them and I wanted to mark it as like, this is my book of signs. But then you just start journaling anytime symbolism shows up in your life or your dreams or cool synchronicities. And ultimately in 5 years, I think probably that's a long time, and you'll start to see results a lot sooner. But you can flip through it and start seeing like echoes and rhymes in your own life, like, whoa, like answering questions for you 6 months down the road and things like that. And I think it's just it's such a fun practice. So let's all have a book of signs. You don't have to share it with anybody. I didn't mind sharing those symbols with you. Most of them I've already shared anyway. And then my super secret evil occult Illuminati signs I keep to myself. I hope you're enjoying this month's theme, because I definitely am. And until we meet again. Oh, happy solstice! The solstice is soon, any day. If you want to join us for the summer solstice module at the psychospiritualwheeloftheyear.com, go there. psychospiritualwheeloftheyear.com. I'll put links somewhere if you want to join us for a really unique, interesting way of exploring the Wheel of the Year. And until we meet again, much love. Peace. Is that an occult Illuminati sign? What am I saying when I do this? I have a picture of me like this, and I was told that that's a gang symbol. It was like across the top of my website for years and years and years. And I just left it. I was like, well, it doesn't mean a gang symbol to me. So I'm still rambling. I was supposed to say goodbye until we meet again. Much love. Peace.